pledge to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thanks for coming, everyone. A few guests in the house. Roll call. Kelly?
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Here.
Francis Griffith?
Here.
Ellie Schmidt here, Troy Parker. Here.
Okay, the agenda's before you. You need to add something?
I do, I have two additions. Under new business, at the bottom we'll add QuickBooks upgrade.
Oops. Okay.
And then the second thing is the BSNA proposal.
Sure. Okay, with the two additions,
Motion to approve.
Mark's going to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Second.
Butcher, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then last, your regular minutes from April 3rd are before you.
Motion to approve the April 3rd minutes.
I'll second that. Motion been made, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carol
Hey,
is our clerk
thank you.
from
Would you?
Corona.
Sure, I'll take another one.
Yes. And I brought, okay, so I brought out new directories. I didn't know how many people you guys would have. You can let your residents know that I do have another, more things like it.
Okay.
Also wanted to just come out and talk about some things that are happening in the clerk's office. Wanted to give you an update on the All-Service Saturday that I spearheaded on March 9th, and it was just the Circuit Court building offices. So that was the 35th Circuit Court, Treasurer's Office, Register of Deeds, Front of the Court, Equalization, and my clerk's offices, the two sides. My Vital Records office had about 10 constituents walk in and need services, so I was pretty thrilled about that. Our phone never rang. I was pretty thrilled about that too, but on the court side, we did have one individual that came in and needed to file for divorce. Judge Stewart held court for some civil matters and he had 3 sets of people in. They were thrilled that they didn't have to take a day off work and were able to come in on Saturday. In front of the court, because to have the court side open, it really makes sense that the front of the court is open and then there's a scheduler on the 3rd floor, which is Circuit Court. Because anyone that comes in to file anything, they usually need those 3 services, and so some people were able to have that accomplished for the day. I felt like it was a success, and I'm looking to do it again in October. First time, I think maybe a dozen people. I look at it as 12 people that didn't have to, that were able to help that we couldn't get through the week. That date hasn't been scheduled yet because we rely on the front of the court's system availability. So that was one thing. The other thing was I wanted to let people know about the county will be doing a point-and-pay credit card streamline right across all the offices except for the front of the court. We don't know when that change is going to be taking place, but one of the factors is that it is going to put a fee on the constituents, and then the county isn't picking that up. Because you can imagine, almost all of us do have the machine to take the credit card or the debit card, and the county eats quite a bit. So that is one change that is coming down the pike. The other thing in the certified pistol license world, CPL, the state has now had the availability to do a renewal online. So that is something pretty exciting, and it hasn't slowed down the walk-in traffic in my office, but it has allowed constituents to do that online. So that's a new update.
Carolyn, do you guys notify when somebody's coming up for renewal?
Yes, you get that letter usually 6 months in advance. So if you don't, give us a call. We can look you up and make sure and see. But we've had some of those things fall through the cracks. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about birth certificates. Really, it's called the Real ID Act that took effect in the year of 2019. It happened in October of 2017 that started. It was from the Federal 911 Commission. And it's that Real ID Act that it's about your driver's license needs the gold star. Let's see, it's called Real ID Act. And everyone needs to have that little star on their driver's license. It's in the upper right-hand corner by October of 2020. But the reason I'm sharing this with people is because what it's done for my office, Commissioner, pay attention, is that the walk-in traffic is just quadrupled. For birth records alone, we just got done with April, my stat was like that. If you're going in to renew your driver's license, you need your birth record, and it has to be the certified. Not the little feed, not the souvenir copy with the gold emblem on it, it has to be the certified birth record. And now all of us have gotten this, what they call safety paper. It's so now all birth records are on this safety paper from the state. And it has a number that is recorded through the state, but that's what they're looking for, because we've had people come in with their initial birth certificate and the Secretary of State won't accept it.
So Carolyn, question on that, now I've got an enhanced driver's license.
Yes. Do you have the flag and the star?
Not sure, but
The
my
enhanced
question
is the star and the flag.
being born in Missouri, which I have, my original birth certificate, but it's not from Michigan, it's from another state, of
You
course.
should be fine. But the enhanced is the star and the flag. And that allows you to go to Canada and Mexico by boat or land. And then you still need your passport to go travel internationally.
Some cities like St. Louis.
So what is the gold star?
The gold star, if you don't have the gold star by October of 2020, you will not be able to fly any domestic flights or enter any federal building.
What about people
Yeah.
with, that just have state ID?
Missouri, yeah, that's why I have an enhanced.
They're going to have to get some kind of, this is for the driver's license, they're going to have some.
Same thing.
Yeah, there's something in the Secretary of State.
Good job.
What do you?
Does they have a star on it?
Do you have a Secretary?
Do you need
I
your-
have a flag.
do you need your glasses, John?
When you renew.
Yeah, but I'm up in 20.
Yep.
So I'll have to get it by April 20.
Yes.
So I will
Yes.
renew before the.
Yeah, but you gotta take your very.
Yes.
So right
But
now-
you need your birth record, and if you're married, if you're a name change, and I can't even say a female anymore.
Yeah,
Well,
whoever.
if you have a name change, you better have legal documentation to provide to show the name change from the birth record. Like, I'm married, and my name is no longer Dow, and that's what's on my birth record, so I have to have my marriage license. So we get people coming in and
Looking for their marriage license.
looking for their marriage license. So,
Carolyn, good information.
my walk-in traffic is,
But if you have a passport, they'll take that.
I say, I did my passport, I didn't have to dig out my birth
So
certificate.
that takes effect when, 20?
October of 2020, you need to have.
But if you go into renew right now, you have to have either the passport or your birth certificate. So what she's saying is, probably 75% of people can't find their birth certificate, so they,
Right.
now, that only works if you were born in Shiawassee County, though.
But I will tell you
So-
that anything regarding, anything, we have people come in looking for their parents' death records and things like this, everything.
That isn't gonna count. That's my original birth certificate.
You
had that
carries
already,
it.
John?
What are you carrying that with
Well,
you?
when you were a kid,
Really?
they asked for birth certificates.
Oh.
Do you have a social security card in that wallet too?
Yes.
That's not good, John. You
Yeah, I
don't
know.
have this conversation?
See, the
I'm so
Clark
educated today.
Kingsbury. Clark Kingsbury.
Oh, boy, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that because of the Real ID Act, everything has to be certified. And it's just, all of us statewide are getting dinged with those certified records.
One last question.
Sure.
Is that in that book,
The,
what you're saying about this or not? Maybe not.
no,
Okay.
it talks about birth records and things like that, but no, not the Real ID Act.
Right.
So.
Michigan.gov,
Michigan.
Secretary.
And don't forget to vote
I was
next.
going to ask you about that. Are we
Tuesday.
prepared?
Oh, yeah. Are you ready?
We're ready.
Just waiting for the day. And I'm waiting for 8 o'clock. Well, really 9. That
8
one will-
PM, 8 PM?
Yeah. So,
Thank you.
I thank you for letting me come and speak and go first, because now I'm going to go hit Woodhull.
And tell them I'm coming.
Thank you
I
for
will.
coming. Carolyn, thank you for
You're
coming first.
welcome.
Appreciate you coming.
Come on,
Thank you.
come on, John's running late when you get over.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, any more public comments? All right, reports, Sheriff.
None.
All right.
I didn't get it.
Oh,
Too early in the month.
Mark your you ready, Cecil?
Sure.
Okay.
We're down on ambulance calls right now, by quite a bit. And the other big news was, well, we're working stronger on the building. We've received a lot more information now, and we're getting closer to having a number to anchor what we're doing so that we can start looking at how we're going to acquire the money to build a building. So, and we ordered a new tanker the other day. And we actually got a really good deal.
How much was that?
Guy with 2 or 3 of the other firemen was at the National Convention in Indianapolis, and they had a demo down there. And normally that truck is about $320,000, and we could buy it for $295,000. So, but it was painted red. A repaint's about $10,000 or $15,000.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
And they said, but we've got another one going down the assembly line right now that you can buy for the same price, but it's already painted red too. But we were gonna take the one coming down the assembly line because it had no miles on it. This one's been a demo, now it's got over 6,000 miles on it. And that's a lot of miles on a department like this for a tanker. That's 10 or 12 years at least worth of normal usage. So,
Why would they give you one that's coming down the line at the same price?
because they were trying to get orders. And the company that builds the tankers is owned by Spartan. And CSI is a fire truck company in Grayling that we have one truck from that is an agent for Spartan on their fire trucks, and there's a number of other companies under that umbrella. So anyway, he came a week ago last Monday, with this demo so they could make sure it fit in the fire hall and guys could drive it and all that, the truck committee and everything.
Bells and whistles.
There was quite a few people from the department there, and I was there. And the sister truck going down the assembly line was half the size and half the pump and a different truck. And so he said, I got approval from the company, we'll build you one from scratch so it'll be painted the right color right out of the gate. So that saved us $10,000 or $15,000. So for $295,000. So, but it'll take a year to get. So we said that's fine. So that's what you're gonna do. Yep. So yeah, but by the time you buy the extra equipment and stuff you need for it, it's going to be in that 230 range.
So replacing the
Or
one,
330.
replacing the one in Perry or Morris?
That's a good question.
Okay.
It'll
They have
end up
to
at
decide.
it'll end up at Station 1, but the one at Station 1 currently is 1,500 gallons with a 500-gallon-minute pump. The one at Station 2 is a 1,500-gallon tank with a 1250 pump, but was formerly a pumper that was made into a tanker. Probably, it's hard to say. It's up to them to decide. This new one is 3,000 gallons with a 1250 pump on it. So, and it's a conventional cab because it's hard to get enough people anyways. The tanker doesn't need extra seats.
And we'll pay cash.
Yeah, we pay cash for everything.
That's a good thing. You're on the same board, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You
So-
don't need to sleep, do you, John? You're on these.
Oh, as long as they don't take hours to go. Yeah.
CESA meetings are usually about the length of our meetings, or a little shorter. We've had them as little short as 15.
In the summertime, they can be real short.
Yeah,
You
depends
think?
on whether Bill wants to go golf. So that's it.
That's it for,
Yep.
for season. All right, DDA, we did meet April 17th, and we started at 6:30, which is a Wednesday, and we had our 2 members sworn in. We had a new member and a re-up, and we were excited that the lights, poles and the lights are being installed on Old Lansing Road, so that will give us an attaboy there, and we'll eventually commission those with the ribbon cutting, John.
Oh, okay.
And so consumers will be there, but we've got a sign being made, consumers is dedicating a side, Sid Grinnell, his wife will be there, hopefully some of the kids, and we'll have a dedication. And that will be located at Anna Nelson's entrance.
Oh.
So got a permit from from the road commission, so, okay. And then we, the election of officers, same officers as, and then we had, still have a vacancy, one more vacancy on the board, we talked about, and then DDA land for Justin Horvath was there, and we interviewed a person trying to buy a roughly an acre on the Lansing Road property. And the big thing was Kelly had a whole list of things for us to discuss, which we tried to go through on the DDA, from the recodified tax increment finance plan Act 58 that Governor Schneider signed in February, took effect actually now, January. He signed it February of last year, 18. But anyway, things are on our computer. Kelly's updated that. You can see it on the DDA on the website of the DDA. I think that was it, Troy. John, you're on.
Oh, okay.
John? Wow.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'll touch a few things. I'm now the liaison to the Board of Commissioners to the Road Commission, and a couple meetings I've attended. It's interesting. The money this year was approximately $8.7 million from the state for roads, which was a lot bigger than a few years ago. Next year it's going to be 9.1, and I think the year after that will be 9.4 million for local roads. That was more than in the past. Also, to the Road Commission, bought 2 trucks, bought 2 regular snowplow trucks, and with that, they were able to retire their 2 oldest ones, and now they're back on their sequence of keeping a truck only so many years, and then retiring it and buying new. They got out of sequence when times got bad in 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, because they lost a lot of money and they didn't buy new trucks. But a couple of the trucks they're going to get rid of, one is not too bad shape, the other one is pretty beat up. It's just rust. Also, too, some of the budgetary items that I'm interested in is that they'll, after this year, they will have funded completely their legacy costs, which is really, really interesting. And they've reformed their retirement program over the last several years. And so they'll be able to pay for it, which is really good. Very good. Of course, we're going to have the MTA meeting there next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. A lot of times it has been there in the past when there's election on that Tuesday, which is pretty good. That's one thing I'll touch on. I'll also touch on a little bit about BS&A in the Treasurer's office. That's being implemented. They're up and running. I'll piggyback on what Caroline said. People are now able to pay for their property taxes online. So they can get online on the weekend, see what they owe, put their number in, see what they owe, and they can pay over the line, and they come in the morning and on Monday and they'll process it, which is really good. And there's been a lot of activity. They've been really surprised.
The resident has to pay the fee too.
Yes. Yep. So, among other things, but that's been going along. I did talk to the deputy treasurer, and she says it's working. We're coming along. That's actually done quite well. On the Board of Commissioners side, our lady that was our finance director, Elizabeth Williamson, she left us a couple weeks ago to another job. And this time around, we are going to interview a couple people we had last time that we interviewed, and we'll put it up for, we'll post it for job through MAC, Michigan Association of Counties, there's another service, so on and so forth, and the county. We're basically, I'll get right to the point, is that we're going to have to pay for a finance director. And those people you could hire for 45, 55, 60,000. You're looking at 80 plus. And
For a good one.
for a good one, or they're an under secretary or an under financial person, they're the number 2 person in a larger county, so on and so forth. So what I want to do is, quite frankly, we want to reform that office a little more. Once we hire a finance director, we're sending our 2 gals we have now for payroll and billings and everything. We're sending them to schools for human resource, what's going on in the state, keeping up to date on current law, things like that. But I would say in the future we would have an assistant to the finance person that would learn the job too, Because if that person leaves, it leaves the Board of Commissioners without somebody to figure out what's going on with the budget. So, we're gonna do a lot of reform there. I'm gonna push it and we'll see what happens.
So, how many people are in Board of Commissioners staff then now?
Well, right now, we have Casey, Board Executive Secretary. Casey, I think the rest, yeah. And then there's Mike Harradine, who's our county administrator. He's supposed to be working 32 hours a week, but he works probably 50. Yeah, that's not, I mean, we have to change that too. And then we have two ladies that do billings and payroll and human resources. And they came over from the clerk's office a year and a half ago. And then we had in the past a finance person, one that maybe you all knew was Cheryl Grice. And then we've had a couple, three since. And realistically, that position has become so important with budgetary and reporting that cost of that position has gone up substantially. It's just the way it is today. Yep, and we got to do something about it. We also lost a commissioner. I imagine you're familiar that John Horvath passed away. And that 10 days later, we appointed Dan McMaster to that seat from District, I believe it's 2. And he had been the commissioner in the previous 2 years, but did not run for office. He had gone to work for the sheriff's office, but when he retook the seat, he resigned from the sheriff's office, and presently that position won't be filled. They're going to combine that with another position, which is fine. Budgetary, again, legacy costs are a big elephant in our ongoing problems with legacy costs for retirement. We're doing a lot of things in that this year. We're getting back reports, and I'll report to you on that at a later date. I'm trying to think if there's anything else right at the moment. I can't think of anything. I go to MTA. I do the Genesee Shiawassee Thumb Area work group.
So, you said you're the liaison of the road commission now, so is there anything they're changing, or are you guys just trying to improve communication a little bit?
Well, I think communications need to improve.
Yeah.
I also think, we're actually responsible for that budget. We also appointed Marlene Webster to the Pleasant View Board Medical Care Facility, because actually we're responsible for that budget too. And she'll attend those meetings and report back. There was a lot of talk of expanding that board to 5 people from 3. I don't know if that'll take place. I think the communications are a lot better, and we're making reports. And I think for the time being, we'll see how that works out for the year, so on and so forth.
Things are kind of in check.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
but our road commissioners are elected. I mean,
Yeah,
so,
they are.
a lot of counties, we're on the rare one of that. A lot of counties are, appointed.
That's where everybody retires to, the road commission board.
Yeah.
A lot of companies.
Right, but I mean, our road commissioners are elected, so I mean, they are
Yeah.
responsible to the people.
The only thing about going to the road commissioner meetings are at 7:30 in the morning. Yeah, twice a month, they meet twice. Yeah. They have a lot of meetings, they have a lot of people to their meetings, they have a lot of reports, so. Yeah.
I think it's great that you guys are addressing these issues, because probably 2 biggest problems the county really has been financial problems and communications between departments. And I think that addressing both of those will go a long way to getting the resolving problems straightened out.
With the financial thing, we've had commissioners, past and present, who don't even think we need a county coordinator or a finance person at all.
I don't know how you.
And they come to a meeting and ask, well, how much is in the budget? And we, quite frankly, in 17 and 18, they didn't have a county coordinator and a finance person for quite a while there, and nobody could answer. I mean, so your information is way delayed. It does get done, because the accountants were coming in, but they would come in like 3 or 4 days a week and catch up last month, 3 weeks late.
Yeah, it costs a lot more in the long run.
Absolutely.
Well, and if you're getting it work, I mean, my concern has always been with those positions is that we weren't duplicating things that other county offices were.
Absolutely.
Now, I mean, if personnel are being shifted around such that we're not duplicating it, that's fine. But we didn't need to have somebody doing the treasurer's job in the Board of Commissioners office, because we already have a county treasurer doing it too.
Yes.
So,
And one of these days I'll address all that.
yeah,
That might have been solved.
yeah.
But anyway, I'm sure it's something I've missed right now. And I've had a busy day, and if you have any questions, anything that pops up in your head, call me. And we have meetings on like the week of 15th, 14th, 13th, 12th, 11th of May, after the second full week. And so, there's lots to do.
Okay, John, thank you very much.
And I'll go to Woodhall. I'll follow.
Caroline.
It's okay, I said hi. Okay, library, Mark.
You got the notes, there wasn't a whole lot that went on. They've been getting a lot of letters and thank you notes from patrons of the library, which is kind of cool. Always makes you feel good. And they did on the O'Berry estate, the guy actually finally brought the audits and financial reports that he's been supposed to bring, according to the judge, for a year now, so that may be getting near to a close, so.
Good,
That's the library.
good, okay.
Has the city done anything more on
Oh, you know what, I can address that too right now. They have boy, I'll tell you, my head just went blank. They have a purchase agreement, a signed purchase agreement with the people that own that building. The family still owns that building.
Oh, okay.
And the family would like to see it go for the library, so, they're getting money out of it and everything. The issues become, how much is the city gonna want for the library building? The library building is quite old, so what's the remediation cost gonna be for lead and asbestos in that building? That building has a basement. And
All of those buildings have basements.
and the common wall to the TDS building, the TDS building is actually older than the library. And that is kind of a sandstone brick that the TDS building is built out of, so there's concern that when you try to tear down the library, that there could be a problem with that wall. So, until the city comes to us and says, number one, how much money, and then we sit down and examine it and decide if it makes that a doable project downtown or not.
You mean for adding to the fire department there?
Yeah, we have addressed 3 possible ways to do the fire hall. One is to remodel and raise the roof of the current building so that we can put larger doors in and add doors and put an addition to the south side. And because with fire department, you don't have to worry about ADA, so you can put quarters upstairs and not have to worry about an elevator. And then possibly an addition on the north side where the library building is, halfway through the lot and still leave a walk-through area and stuff like that in there, in a fire space. That's one possibility. Second possibility is to tear down that building and start from scratch at that location. And the third possibility is on another site. But we're in the process of, Sean Sepka is getting us numbers approximate numbers to rehab that building or build a new one.
I was saying, is there any possibility that TDS would want to part with their building too? And then you'd really have the space.
A possibility.
Yeah.
there is a possibility of that. Because they literally, that building is used more as a meeting area for the guys to come to. Because literally their phone switching station amounts to a computer about that big. You know, it doesn't need to be there. They can put an addition on the building on
You're saying it's
Britain
more-
Road.
It's more of a social, it's just a gathering. gathering
Well, it's where they go and put the reports in for their day and stuff like that. And they could put an addition on the Britain Road building and do that.
Oh, yeah.
And take a pretty good write-off for that
Yeah,
building.
right, that's what I was gonna say. I bet a deal could be worked out there. I mean, the
John's actually working on it.
phone company would partner with that buddy, yeah.
So there's a lot of things kind of up in the air, but like I said during the assessor report, we're drawing closer to a point where we can look at writing grants and things like that to try to acquire money, decide if we're gonna have to try to get a bond, you know, those kind of things.
Yeah.
We lacked any kind of a plan and any kind of a dollar figure. To build a building off-site, for instance, Adams Building on Lansing Road, that building turnkey was 57 a square foot. So if we went with a similar building to his, which is a pole structure, and even using 6 or 8 foot of cement block and then building the structure above that, we're probably a little closer to 65 to 70. That's assuming that there's no extreme site work or anything like that. Maybe a little more because of the type of paving we would need for the weight of the trucks and stuff. That's why we gotta see, you know, because if you can build a building, even a steel structure building, you can build for less than 80. But if it's gonna cost you 110 a square to stay in town, that could change the whole flavor of things. So we
A
just,
lot of questions to be answered.
but we're finally addressing those issues, so.
So can any of that money be used to help the library in their move?
No, it can't be used for construction, it can be used for programs, I guess, and materials, but not, there is a way to do it, and that's to take some of that money out of the general budget, you know, the way the normal government shuffles.
That wasn't the intention of the very.
No, but it's a considerable amount of money, so.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's possible, but, you know, they're pretty excited about going over there, because the building they're in right now is literally falling down. And the city, to their credit, have tried to keep it up.
That's good, yeah.
You know, they've put money into it, and they've put a lot of effort into it. The whole front end fell off a year and a half ago, and they redid that. So,
Yeah, I mean, but if the fire department was doing it, I mean, I would think you'd start from scratch.
oh, yeah, well, there's no use of that building, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, Mark, I-69 training.
All right, we had our meeting earlier last month. I'll be quite honest with you, there wasn't anything of any great substance covered.
Good job, sir. So,
Yeah, John was there and spoke, yeah.
all right, check. Mark, SEDP.
SEDP, Ryan Henry spoke at the meeting. Ryan has a company now where he helps businesses reorganize to focus better and moving forward.
Okay.
Pretty interesting guy, and in fact, I was with a customer the next day who is in need of his services, and I put the two of them together. The SEDP board voted, while most of the people on the board support the need for a jail, they didn't feel it was proper for a business support organization to support or non-support the jail. So we voted not to write a requested, the sheriff's department had requested a letter of support. We voted not to do it, not because we didn't support it, but we just didn't feel it was the
Just kind
proper
of
use.
abstains from
Yeah.
it, yeah, okay.
And Justin has had, in the last month or two, he's had about 6 inquiries in our area. A couple of them you guys know about, and some of them I don't even know what they are. But he's been getting inquiries in the Perry area. And obviously, they're gonna be all new builds, because there's not a place else for them to go.
Right.
With the exception that, Adam and his dad are maybe building a building next door to Adam's building that will be a spec building for lease,
Okay.
but, that's,
I think one of the issues, you know, when Justin and I were talking about some of it is there's still kind of the sticker shock gap, I think, between, you know, stuff was really cheap, you know, that people were trying to fill and stuff, and now you're up to new build costs, and there was a massive gap there. You
Well-
know, and it, you know,
it's
some of
people
the-
coming from out of the area that are more willing to put the money out than people that are local, that are, you're right, that became used to that kind of price tag.
right.
People come from out of state are looking at it going, oh, that's not that bad, you know. They want the expressway. They like the fact there's a major state highway north and south. And Lansing Road provides a Class A road. You know, all those things are to our benefit. Justin feels that the two prime expansion areas in the county are the Perry area and the Durand area, so, more than any place else. So that's, you know, it's interesting in itself. I know that Project Tim is moving closer and closer to,
Becoming a reality.
yep.
All properties.
And there's a lot of projects going on around the county, it isn't just in our
Like the
area.
housing counterpart over there now, I mean, the rentals and all, they, you know, they had a problem, they wanted a lot more
Oh, there's-
space, but I don't
there's-
think there is.
There's a lot of things going on. I know of two people that are involved in starting projects for spec houses and things like that. One of them is gonna try to target in-town lots and things like that, where there's a lot here and a lot there, which makes a lot of sense.
There's a lot of redevelopment opportunities in a lot of the cities in this county.
And there's money available to help with that to an extent too. And I'm sure that this board feels that way, that that's a much better option than breaking a farmland.
Certainly my opinion, yeah.
That's mine too, so.
But I mean, there's just a lot, you drive down Perry, Morris, Durand, Owasso, Corona, there's a lot of homes that need some help, you know, and, you know,
Whether they
Well-
rebuilt or.
whether they're torn down and start over or rehab, but they're, you know, you need those things to make everything look fresh and vibrant, and, you know, we're even starting to see it some in, you know, more like forest green, you know, where it's the older of the subdivisions, and there's some ones in there that, you know, particularly some rentals that are, you know, starting to look a little tough.
Well, they came a couple months ago, it was brought up in the board meeting, that maybe we could start helping to nudge local governments into making more consistent zoning throughout the county. I said, I'm gonna tell you guys, that's gonna be a buzzsaw. There's a lot of possessiveness to how they feel their township should be developed. It's pretty obvious between Perry and Woodhall, let's say, you know.
Right.
I said it would be much better to begin with if we just embark on a project to make sure that the maps are correct, that show the zoning throughout the county, particularly on the thoroughfares, so that when somebody comes in the area, we can say, okay, here's the type of property you're looking
Here's what's
for.
available.
You know, and then make sure that all the townships and villages and everybody have those maps that are up to snuff, so that they can see what their bordering communities are doing also. So-
Well, it's so that you can do an answer quickly. You know, for example, the person that was interested in the DDA's property, I mean, you know, I mean, we knew what it was zoned and everything, but I mean, so that you can quickly determine, you know, what needs to be done. You know, if that guy was interested in that, that would require rezoning to M1 from B1. A rezoning in a commercial industrial corridor from a B1 to an M1 should not be a complicated rezoning. you know, if you were going from A2 to M1, that's a whole different ballgame.
That's right.
But I mean, from B1 to B2 or B1 to M1, that should be simple, you know.
Yep. So anyway, they've been working on that with the county.
Yeah, they are working on getting the maps better.
Yeah.
They couldn't be much worse. So.
Right, that's kind of what.
Okay, next on our list, Mark, is the planning commission meeting that you had.
Okay, we had the planning commission to address this Article 16 rework by the county, of which
Okay.
the county commission didn't know anything about. Which you would have thought that if you're going to rework a job description, that
Yeah.
the commission would have had information about that.
Okay.
The
So-
county planning commission or the county board of commissioners?
Board of Commissioners. So,
Wow.
we,
Okay.
Dwayne explained to us that this was more of a proposed set of changes for people's opinions to be added to it than it was, we want you to thumb up or thumb down this because this is what we're gonna vote on type thing. The things that we found that we felt needed to be addressed, first off, we're quite agitated that they can't seem to adhere to the agreed 45 days for us to be able to consider these things at the township level.
I contacted,
The new guy.
The new guy, yeah.
Matt's replacement.
Yeah, and I asked him, because the letter that they send out doesn't give a deadline, it doesn't give where to send these recommendations to. So I contacted him and I said, you know, my planning commission said we thought we got at least 45 days to take care of this. And he said, oh, well, yeah, he said 50 at least. And I said, well, can you put like a deadline in this letter so that we know how much time we have to work on this information?
Well, and if they could get it out in a timely fashion, they wouldn't burn up a third of it before it even gets to us.
So he said he would do that. He said, I will readjust the letters that we send out so that they will reflect a due date, a plan, when they're gonna meet, that kind of thing, and when they're gonna review things. And then he told me that this whole Article 16, he said, this is gonna be a year's worth of work.
Yeah.
So,
So that was the next thing, was a summary letter that explained what they were looking for and what the purpose was, would have been helpful in doing this. And we also, this came about because if somebody comes in and registers a split with the Register of Deeds, the information doesn't get back to the planners and the zoning people in a timely fashion, if at all. And so things get slid by, and then all of a sudden they got a non-conforming thing because the Register of Deeds doesn't know what's conforming and non-conforming. So we felt that there should be a way to make sure that those departments are coordinating and passing this information back and forth, and it needs to be addressed in that better than it was. So that was pretty much what we spent our meeting on, was this. Deciding what our recommendations were for the purpose of this. But yes, that's what we finally found out, but the original thing we got didn't address that, didn't tell us that.
because you had no idea. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
right, we got this thing, I mean, you didn't know, was there a particular issue that triggered this, or, I mean, some of this was, you know, I mean, we referenced, they've got laws they reference in here that haven't been effective for 10 years, you know, it should be updated, you know.
Well, and
you
they
know.
seem to be streamlining the position, and,
Sure.
and, okay, that's fine, but they should have said that in a summary letter saying, well, we're attempting to streamline these ordinances and positions, and so we're looking for input as we start to work through this process.
Kind of bullet.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I guess my question to you is, does the planning commission need more time to thoroughly look over this information, or do you feel like you guys covered it in the last meeting?
I think we covered it because surprisingly, most of the board members had read through it pretty good.
Okay.
I mean, and we did go back through it pretty well too, but not everybody understood everything they were trying to put there. That's why the summary letter might help. But the fact that Dwayne could come in and tell us from, you know, his other position on the county, he could tell us what they were really trying to look at, made it a lot clearer to us,
Oh,
why,
sure.
because we're all sitting there going, well, why do they want to do
But
this?
if you can't understand it by reading it, then there needs to be more clarification than in the article.
Well, and that's what we put down on
Mike,
Mike.
I said, you know, if you just opened that envelope and looked at it, you'd have no idea what you were really looking for.
So were there certain subsections that were not clear, that maybe?
Well,
I think they were clear. You guys, it's my understanding, you know, were concerned and think that things should be laid out more clearly on the land division questions.
that was probably.
I mean, this isn't a new topic. We have all new people at the county, yet it's the same topic we've had for 20 years.
Yeah,
So-
and that's, you know, that really was the issue we spent the most time talking about on this. But now we've put some input in, now we're expecting at some point we'll get a reworked version back to then look at it again.
Review follow-up with the township.
Yeah, this isn't a rush, super rush
Right, well,
job.
we didn't know that, we
Yeah,
thought it was.
Yeah, and I didn't know
Yeah.
that either until
No.
I called them.
Yeah.
Okay, so does the township board have any recommendations that we want to add to the planning commission recommendations? Would you say?
I don't know that we have, I think the planning commission kind of covered it, unless you guys can think of something.
Okay,
I would say you know, what you brought up, the deadline, there needs to be a deadline on the form, and then the 50 days, so you know when your 50 days, because I explained to a lot of times, we get something, in our meetings, the third Thursday, and we get something after that, and then it's like 5 weeks before we
right,
meet.
see, and I looked at the calendar and thought, well, crappy, they meet on the third Thursday, and so our people, we've got to look at this because we're going to miss the deadline.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, hopefully we can get, I mean, like I said, the 50-day issue has been in the time I've done this has always been constant thing. And the thing they always used to do, which really agitated people, was they either backdated stuff or just didn't send it out for 2 weeks. I'm not sure which they did, but we get a letter saying your 50 days started on the 20th of April and we got it today.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Right.
it doesn't take 10 days to get from Corona to here.
Well, and they could literally electronically send it.
And that's why,
Same time.
I wasn't sure whether it just didn't get mailed or it was backdated, on purpose.
Yeah.
But you're
Well,
right.
With this issue too, was they didn't know for sure what Matt had followed through when he left and what, was really there. And then, what kicked off a lot of this was 3 years ago on Shasberg Road, a lady had 70 acres. Okay, she contacted real estate, they told her to get it surveyed. So she surveyed it and sold 59 acres and never did anything. She sold it on a land contract. Well, now she's older and can't take care of it. They went to sell it, the 10 acres with the house, and it's a non-conforming lot. Well, then there was a big issue that, it should have been caught 3 years ago before the other property was sold.
Sure.
And then some of that's up to the individual township to stop too. I mean, I've stopped more than one of those here myself.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to have the will to stop it. And sometimes that can be, we had one in the village of Morris that was a particularly illegal one by somebody who has done this before. And Steve and I got together and I said, we're just not gonna split it on the roll. We're not gonna split it, they're not gonna have separate tax ID numbers. They can fight amongst themselves how they wanna prorate the taxes. And it took 2 years, and they all got their attorneys involved and everything else, but they got it fixed. So.
Woodhall claims that it was never brought to their attention at all, because it was a land contract deal. Once they knew where the 59 acres was, they sold it on a land contract, and nothing was ever done.
Well, if you do an unrecorded land contract and don't notify the township, then that's an illegal sale anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have to record land contracts, but you have to notify the township within 45 days.
Anything else, Mark? Okay. Financial report, Troy, and pay the bills.
Right, so you got your bills list, nothing really out of the ordinary, kind of a short.
We installed our overhead roll-up.
Oh, we got Kelly's door over
That's your
there.
door over there. That
Looks
was
nice.
It does, it looks very nice. We
Very
had a lady,
nice.
we had a lady in renting the hall today who complimented
Oh,
us.
good.
She did.
It does, looks nice and smooth, and did a good job.
We got our floors redone and.
Floors are nice and sealed.
Yeah, I can smell it.
Very nice, very nice.
Steve gonna roll his retirement on it or something? Of course, that doesn't really affect us any.
No, it doesn't affect us. You'll see the transaction where it comes in and goes back out, but no, it doesn't have any financial impact to the township.
So want to move to pass the,
Yeah, make a motion.
Mark will make the motion to approve the bills as presented by Troy. Second it. Okay. Butch will second it, okay. Roll call vote, Kelly.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffin?
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Craig Hartman, yes.
Okay. Correspondent, Kelly, you got anything?
No.
Troy, you have anything?
No.
I don't have anything. Butch? No. Public comments, any announcements, Kelly? Announcements, Mark? Butch? Troy?
No,
Any unfinished business?
no.
Well, actually, I do have
Oh, okay,
Good. We all know that the PNC is closing or closed.
Well, the bank.
Bank in town.
in Perry, yeah.
And I contacted the manager at the Michigan State University Credit Union on Marsh Road.
Oh.
And after that, I talked with Justin. It so happens that one of the officers on the league board is
That's
the
right.
president
He
of the
told me.
credit union.
That's right.
So he has had a meeting with her, but at the same time, Chemical has expressed interest in moving from Morris over there.
Oh, good.
Because they don't have a drive-in window, they're
Sure.
pretty small there and everything.
So that's good too.
So there's a possibility that we're gonna keep a bank in Perry, maybe not in Morris, but in Perry. So that's,
Okay.
but in the meantime, I told a lot of people, a whole lot of people called the credit union saying, you better move to Perry. So they said, man, we're getting a lot of phone calls.
The thing is, I would not be shocked if PNC deed restrict who they sell it to.
It's
You know.
possible Justin is talking to the real estate person from PNC.
Oh, okay. He's trying to cover the base.
Yeah, he's actually, he climbed right into it and
Okay.
got to work on it, so.
Okay.
I mean, that is not uncommon when banks close.
Yeah, I understand that. Michigan State Credit Union has expressed that they're going to, if they don't do something like that, they have a mobile office that they bring into an area every so often. And that combined with an ATM location that would be
Let's
theirs.
test the water maybe, or?
Yeah. I said, you guys got an awful lot of alumni in this area.
Well,
It
that's
makes
right.
sense to. So if anybody has, if anybody has the opportunity to say anything, it can't hurt us. I was surprised businesses had to pay to deposit cash at PNC and over a certain amount of checks. I thought a bank wanted money, so.
Mr. Troy also had an idea for, anyway, we'll go into that business. Okay, new business, State Tax Commission Assessment Certification. That's, of course, our AMAR, our roll call, our assessment. Steve Swihart did a good job.
Board of review.
Board review, which we met, and I just want to let you know, Steve completed all the forms necessary and submitted them to the state treasurer. But I will say in our board review, we did have a total of, where's my note? Here it is, 23 board review assessments that we looked at, 10 VA exemptions. We had 9 no changes, 1 class change, and 3 we denied, so there was 23 for what that's worth.
None of any notable.
Nope, everything was pretty smooth, and we might have one appeal to the tax tribunal. So anyway, that's
Is that a normal?
a gentleman
Yes.
in Morris. Okay, so anyway, that was that. I just want to make that comment. So everything, the books are closed, as you know, we did send Steve, out here on Tuesday, so he retired from our commission.
You know, he could have come tonight, so we all could have said something.
Yeah, and then now, we got an assessment candidate that came in that Troy was trying to, and I were trying to find someone. And Steve actually helped us. Troy and I met with her on Tuesday, a week ago, and what you talk about over there?
Yeah, so anyway, I mean, we had several feelers out there. We had, also several people that expressed they were not interested. So this lady who came in a week ago Tuesday, she is the Dowers who Steve has worked with, and they've taken over some of the other units that Steve has given up on. They knew somebody who knew her. So that's how, and she was looking to pick up a unit. So anyway.
I can't get it quick. I had a couple of questions.
Sure.
Looking at this, first off, we don't see a problem with the distance away.
No, so anyway, she is, right, I mean, this was.
Two people came in.
Right, her and her daughter, they are, and she is a company, so it's Bremen Assessing LLC. So her daughter would be the primary person that would be handling this, and she lives closer, she's in Shepherd. So, no, she didn't see a huge problem. I mean, she was proposed to be here, hold office hours like Steve did, 1 day a week for 3 hours, and then, I mean, she intends to handle a lot of it remotely. I mean, there's no reason you can't answer phone calls from anywhere, and all that. I mean, she did not see that as a huge problem.
But you're all right, we do need office hours so people can meet with her, or
Yeah,
or more importantly, you can meet with her.
Yeah, I mean, we told her we were flexible on that, I mean, it didn't have to be Tuesdays at noon. I mean, it could be, whatever, when we're here, whatever works for them, so.
The other thing that I think I would like to see, based on her proposal, is a written report on a regular basis of what she's done. Measured 3 parcels, worked on the 20% project. It doesn't have to be specific, each parcel listed and stuff, but just a
Work detail sheet.
just, we call it a call sheet in the sales business, but,
Sure.
I mean,
Worked out a land division.
like quarterly,
quarterly would be
we
fine.
completed, 25 parcels on the review or something. Yeah,
Right.
I don't see that as a huge problem.
Just so that primarily you have a way to kind of track what she's doing so that
That's a good point.
something comes up, you've got knowledge, and she would make note of anything that was of particular importance.
I don't think, go ahead.
I don't think that it's a bad idea for her to list the parcel numbers that she's done, just so that we have a record of that too. I mean, you had mentioned that she didn't necessarily need to do that, but if she's gonna give us a report, she might as well give us those numbers.
That's fine, if there's a use for it, sure. I just would like to see that done. I'm not looking for, geez, you didn't work hard this quarter, that isn't the point. I just, that way, if she shows that she's done 3 land divisions and you can only think of 2 that happened, it'd be nice to be able to backtrack and say, what was the 3rd one or whatever.
No, I mean, when we talked, I don't know, how long did we talk about? 45 minutes probably. I mean, she checked all the boxes in my book. I mean, there was nothing we could stump her on. She is the kind of person that wants to take it to the next level in automation, which is fine with me. Taking in, so we have more, I mean, we have our records online now, but I mean, such that we have now that we have the sketches on there, we have, as we get them, the new digital pictures. instead of having to go in a file to see if there's a property transfer affidavit, well, it's scanned and it's just attached to it, you know, so you can see it quickly.
Well, I think
I
that's a
mean,
good idea.
you know, yeah, I mean, she's worked as a deputy treasurer, she's been in an equalization department. The township she's been in have been up north there, which are, you know, up north you have two different kinds of townships. You have very rural ones and then you have very fancy ones, and she's been in a couple of the fancy ones. I mean, in the,
Gladwin itself is,
but the Houghton Lake area too. I mean, you
yeah,
have to,
yeah.
waterfront
Yeah.
property is very tricky assessing.
Yep.
I mean, and, you know, you're always watching for people trying to pull shenanigans, claiming two homesteads
She
and
spoke to that.
and that sort of thing.
She's
I mean,
spoken.
that's a huge problem up north, you know,
Yeah.
where people are trying to claim two and stuff. So, no, I was impressed. I think the proposal dollar-wise at $27,000 a year comes probably in the ballgame. I mean,
Do you anticipate anybody else to interview?
no. The only other person I had out there was when you called me last week, and we haven't seen anything.
No, I didn't get you to tell you, but
Okay.
everybody he talked to is either buried or getting out.
Yeah, right. And we did have one younger guy that, you know, Steve had talked to too, who has some good experiences, who's working on his certification, but he's not certified.
yeah, that's an open hole.
She likes numbers. She's got a math degree, or bachelor's in sciences and mathematics, and she taught school for a while. She's got all the certification, MCAO and the MAAO, which is a level 4. She is what we need.
Yeah, I mean, the distance, I was a little concerned at the distance too, you know, Mark, but I mean, she didn't think it was a problem. Like, her and her daughter do it, and her daughter will be the primary one down here, and, you know, she's an hour away. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
horribly
that's
far,
fine.
you know, and I did email it today and ask her, you know,
What she
what
needed.
what would she be in, you know, how long of a term would she, you know, I said we'd previously done a 3-year contract, is that, you know, would you, and she said 3 years what her standard one is. One thing Mark and I did talk about that we'd like to change in our current contract into this one is to give a longer notice period if somebody wants to opt out. You know, 60 or 90 days.
Or if we want to get rid of them too.
Right, but I mean, you know, this was kind of rushed to do this,
Yes.
you know, and I mean, so I think, you know, if they want out of it early, I think a 90-day window is
Give
not
us time to
reasonable.
find some.
Give us time to find somebody. Steve had never met her before, but he really liked her too, and, you know, he's willing to answer any questions or anything for her.
Okay.
Stuff going forward, so I guess my recommendation, and you can say too, would be that we approve her for the $27,000 a year for a 3-year contract, and we'll, you know, have to draft it. Basically take our existing contract and adjust that, adding in the report.
One last thing.
Thing and-
She is an LLC, which,
Correct, so what we would,
So
we would
we'd
be, this would
contracting
be,
with her business.
this would be contracted services.
right.
And that way, I mean, effectively, it's her responsibility, you know, to provide us these services. I mean, if she hires people to go out and do measuring, you know, that's whatever, I don't care, you know.
And it cuts down the,
We don't have to contribute towards the retirement.
right.
But I mean, like you say, she's the actual certified assessor that will be signing them, but I mean, her daughter will be the one actually doing a lot of the field work there. But I mean, with the company, this is no different than what the county does with Preston's, you know, I mean,
And she,
they're providing us assessments.
and she was well spoken, the daughter.
She was, like I said, they checked every box. I mean, they went right through
Well-
things and everything I liked.
I'll make a motion that we hire Tina at $27,000 a year with a 3-year contract to be written and so forth by Troy and Mark, so that, you know, you cover all the
Basics.
little things.
How about we have sought a qualified assessor replacement and have received one proposal from Tina Braven in the amount of $27,000 for 3-year contract as a contracted service.
That sounds great.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Butch,
That's what you said, wasn't it?
Mark's motion, I like it.
Is that okay with
Is-
that?
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Butch will second that. Kelly,
Okay,
roll call vote.
Mark Frazier,
Yes.
Francis Griffin,
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes, Troy Carmely.
Yes.
Mark Foltz.
Yes. Thank you. That's a headache.
She would, in fairness, I told her we would be talking about this tonight, and I don't think I even told her when our board meeting was before. So she said, well, I'd like to come tonight, but she had something else. And that's what I said, well, in fairness, I'm not sure.
Well, I would like to see her come at a future meeting.
And she will.
Well, she'll, yeah. Okay, I've got one more thing that I'd like to talk about. Kelly and I would like to talk about. It's something that we have talked about here for 2 or 3 meetings. And I just want to throw it out there, maybe a little more detailed, if I could find it, Troy. Oh, you all know what I'm talking about. It's a possible ordinance that we should draft and then have a couple meetings on recreational marijuana and establishment ordinance. The DDA met this month, and it was their take that probably shouldn't really do anything right now as far as entertaining businesses to come into the DDA district. So we can always change our mind, but I'm thinking that maybe we need to redo this and start.
I think one of the concerns Mark has is we're starting to get a lot of phone calls from people not in our area, asking what's your guys' plan on marijuana. Some of them don't even speak very good English. And is it,
Well, we're
Right.
back to that same thing, isn't it?
we're back to the same thing that we've gone around about, but I mean,
So
we're back around to
Even
it.
Tom thought that we should,
Yes, he did last meeting. And so you guys, I understand today have sent this to town, is
I
that
did
correct?
yesterday.
This was,
I
well, we got, Woodhull is adopting one tonight, the
Tonight.
same one, except they paid their attorney to get it from MTA's website, and we just got it from MTA's
Yeah.
website.
So,
So,
so are we gonna wait until next meeting to do our tentative approval based on Tom's opinion?
So when I emailed Tom, I said, I pulled this off of the MTA website. Do you find this acceptable, or do you think we should have additions to it? And I hadn't gotten anything back today from him, so I thought, if we want to wait until the next meeting, just to give him time to review it and look into it, that's fine.
So we should table it till the next meeting.
We can table it, I just wanted to.
But let me
show
say
you
one thing
this.
before we table it. Woodhall actually hired Lynn Bound, which is Steve Sawyer's attorney in his county, and also Charter Township. That's the attorney of record. She actually paid him to do this.
Well, some people just aren't
Attorneys
careful with their
are-
money.
Well, but Kelly had the smarts to say, hey, that's the same thing, so she printed it off. And we can always change it. It's cool. I mean,
Well, that's fine, but there's not
You asked Tom to
There's not a
look
rush.
over, I think you should give Tom time to
Yeah.
get back with us.
He went to the meetings through the MTA, so,
Yep.
maybe he would have
Yep.
some better insight than.
And it's still gonna take 3 months.
Well,
Because
I
we gotta go through 2 meetings, right?
Yes.
we
We
schedule
gotta have
one.
2 open, we gotta have 2 public meetings.
It's gotta be published twice.
it has to be published, we don't have to have 2 meetings, we just have to publish it, right?
Oh, we don't even have to have a public meeting on it?
Oh, well, I mean,
You gotta have a public hearing.
Her meeting was this morning.
Oh,
She was having a meeting before.
It-
Or that.
we have to notice it twice.
Yeah.
We have to publish it twice, and then it has to be filed with the company.
Who's gonna enforce that?
Mark,
The,
That part.
That was the question.
here's the question, when I talked to her at length on Friday, Woodhall, okay, she wanted to take that enforcement right out of there. And what the lawyer told her is that, Mark, hey, you need to put that in there because whether you realize it or not, you have two law enforcement, you have the sheriff and you have the additional state police. You have enforcement. Now, whether they do anything or not is beside the point. There is, so she agreed, we need to put that in there. And Lynn was emphatic about it being in there, so that's why it's in there.
It's a township ordinance, the sheriff's department gonna enforce it. No.
no, but I mean, I think where Mark's going on this is, and I mean, we're getting phone calls, and if we can just, we'll have 90% of them off the passes if we just say,
Well, basically what it's doing is really setting the land use question, is what it's really settling.
That is right.
And frankly, until that whole land use thing is clarified, you know, I mean, there's a lot of gray area on that, there's a lot of feeling that there's kind of a donut hole for county zoning in there. You know, that the law as it is written for how it pertains to zoning does not clarify, is not real clear on townships that are under county zoning. I mean, that'll get tested in court, I'm sure, so.
But Lear's not gonna give anybody a license for recreation marijuana for 2 years if they haven't had a medical marijuana license.
So anyway, I think that if we haven't heard back from Tom, then let's have it on our June agenda, and it will give us time to have it, if we adopt it at our June agenda or meeting and whatever changes Tom recommends, it would still be effective in time before the state promulgates the rules anyway.
Of course we do. Yeah.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, all right.
And
And
for that information I gave you, them 2 books, there's some real good information on that in that book.
Everybody wants to talk about pods.
so anyway, that was that the overview. Budget amendment, Troy.
Okay. So this was anticipating if we do something about the assessor. So obviously, this new system will cost us some more money. Now, we're a month into the fiscal year. So what this would be doing is moving it from salaries to contracted services. And then we'd have to, and then also reducing the retirement contribution, because we wouldn't have that. Our net increase for this fiscal year would be $4,275, which I have proposed we just take out of fund balance.
Do we want to do that before you have a signed contract?
I guess we could do this contingent upon the contract, if that seems reasonable.
That makes sense.
I mean, you're supposed to adjust it before if you know you're gonna go over, so.
I'll make a motion.
And hold on,
Oh,
and then the second one, this would be to set up so right now, all of our tax and assessing information and our cemetery stuff is online through BSNA, but the user has to pay a fee, a $2 per parcel fee to see it. One of the new things, talking about the new assessing rules and everything else, is you're supposed to have easier access to data. So my thought is, and a lot of other municipalities around are doing this, where they just pay the fee so that it's, free, to everybody online. That is $3,150 is what BSNA quoted me, and that would do our assessing, our tax, and our cemetery management. Would all be. So this is
Annual fee or a one-time?
annual fee. And then,
In the cemetery.
what I would, and that's an agenda item further down there if we want to do that, but the second budget amendment would be to cover that. So right now, we have in our tax collection fund accumulated money over the years of penalty and everything else that I leave in there. I mean, when we've had to upgrade software, that's where I pulled it from, and such. So for this year, we could transfer money out of there. There's $18,000 or so in there to cover that for this year, if we want to do that. I'm trying to think of ways with our new setup that, we just eliminate phone calls, and stuff, just to make it as easy as possible.
It's accessible 24 hours.
So I'll make a motion that we accept both budget amendments as proposed by our treasurer.
Okay, Mark's made a motion.
Oh, sorry.
Which seconded? Are you ready, Kelly?
Yep. Francis
Roll call.
Griffin,
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Troy Parmalee,
Yes.
Mark Foltz,
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Okay, rapidly moving on. Are you ready, Kelly? Consumers Energy Gas and Electric Franchise Ordinance. She wants to talk about it.
So we received a ordinance from Consumers Energy for the gas and electric franchise. It needs to be renewed. The last one was signed in 1989. So it's
It's done every every 30 years, the one before that was done in 1960. This effectively allows consumers to have structures within the right-of-ways. It's not an exclusive franchise, it holds us harmless in there for things. I mean, this is a renewal of the one we've done twice before. It's just like-
Basically, it gives them the right and authority to lay, maintain, and commercially operate gas lines, facilities, including but not limited to mains, pipes, services, and valves, to construct, maintain, and commercially use electric lines and related facilities, including but not limited to towers, masts, poles, blah, 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 bridges, waterways, and to conduct local gas and electric business in our township. That's what it does.
They have a lot of easements anyway on property, but this allows it, the only part that we're really controlling is on our right-of-ways.
So what would happen then is,
It's an ordinance.
it is an ordinance, we would pass the ordinance, and then within 30 days, we would have to publish the complete franchise ordinance in full in the paper.
On paper?
Make a motion that we approve the Consumers Energy Gas and Electric Franchise Renewal Ordinance.
Second.
Marco seconded, okay. And Kelly? Roll call vote.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Troy Parmalee.
Yes.
Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Francis Grimm.
Yes.
Okay. Quick ones.
Okay, well, we have to, every 3 years, we have to upgrade our QuickBooks to continue having payroll service. Our present one will expire at the end of May here, so. For the 2-user version, it'd be $760. So,
Motion to purchase the upgrade for QuickBooks.
provided we want to keep doing payroll, so.
All right, Mark made a motion.
I'll second.
Kelly will second that motion. And roll call.
Troy Parmalee.
Yes.
Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Francis Griffith.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes.
Okay. One more item.
So the BSNA proposal, this is what, of course, I talked about with the budget amendment there, but this would be to amend it so that that the information is free online instead of them having to pay the $2 fee. And this would be something we would revisit every year too,
Okay.
if we wanted to.
So you're,
So I would make a motion that we approve the BSNA proposal to allow our assessing, tax, and cemetery information available for free online.
motion been made.
Second.
Butch, second.
Does that include anything else, or is it just to get free access?
It's just the free access, so it's already there and it's already linked to our website, but you have to pay the fee.
And roll call?
Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Francis Griffith.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Troy Parmalee.
I think with the new assessing rules, they're gonna force us into that anyway. I mean, they're either gonna force us into that or we're gonna have a public terminal available, certain number of hours a week where you could come in and do it. So this is gonna be cheaper than that.
This is the amount right here.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
All right.
Second.
Motion been made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Good night.